Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Digital Commando Show, episode number 49. Today, it's Motivation Monday, and we've got two fantastic guests for you. Two things before we get started. Number one, the Digital Commando Academy launches in 1 week today. So Monday the 15th. We're opening pre-registration today, so if you want that, there'll be a link in the comments this afternoon. And two, if you get any value from this video, if you enjoy this video, then please share it, pay it forward, and let other people have a look. So without further ado, I'm going to bring our two guests into the room. We've got Emma and we've got Nicola. Morning, ladies. How are we doing?
Hello. Good morning.
Fantastic. Okay, so I'm going to start with Emma. If you'd like to introduce yourself, tell us who you are, what you do, and how we can get in touch.
Okay, so I'm Emma Roache, Unlocking Your Full Potential, and I work with people primarily through one-to-one coaching, do transformational, powerful coaching with people who are trying to overcome things, particularly seems to be things like childhood trauma or not feeling good enough. So they're things I work on as well. And I also have a monthly group which you can subscribe to. You can get in touch with me via my website, which is www.emmaroache, you can see below.com.
Fantastic. Thanks, Emma. And Nicola, please.
Hi, everyone. So I am Nicola Buckley. So I help female leaders and women who want more. I help them to rediscover clarity on who they are and confidence in what they want to start taking inspired action, that feel-good action, and create a happier, more fulfilled life. And in turn, they have a bigger impact on the world. So I do that through VIP coaching. I do that through corporate work that I recently just started, and I've got a group program called the Mastermind. And I also, in the normal world, I also do workshops and retreats. So if you like what I have to say today, you can join my free group, which is my Clarity and Confidence community. So loads of good guest experts going on there, and I'm in there live every week with a free training.
Fantastic. Thank you, Nicola. Right then, let's get started. I've got to say, what we're talking about today is not my area of expertise, so I'm going to bow to the knowledge of the two experts in the room and possibly add a little bit of my personal experience to this. So I'm going to start with Emma. The first talking point is around morning routines for a positive mindset. So what do you do? What do you do with your clients that helps them have the right attitude and mindset for the day ahead?
Okay, so me personally, particularly at this moment, because we actually really need it more than ever, I think, at the moment. Excuse me. I get up in the morning, have a cup of tea, very important, and I relax and read my book to start with, and then I do a little bit of yoga and meditation, and I find that really helps, sets me up for the day, really. So I think knowing yourself and doing what works for you. So I have other friends who get up and go for a walk first thing. I think knowing who you are and how you work best is important. I'm not particularly a morning person, but I know what other people are. They might get up and work first. But and with my clients, again, they're all different. So it's just a case of finding which works for them. So we're all different. So start finding what works for you rather than a strict formula.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I think the yoga and meditation is actually a great idea.
Yeah,
that's a habit that I need to get back into, actually, personally, particularly the yoga.
I think particularly at the moment as well, we're sitting a lot. We're not moving as much. I think it's really important.
Yeah, that's very true. And we are kind of on our backsides and not not even walking to the car and walking to the shop every day. You kind of go, well, I'll go to the supermarket once a week. So yeah, some of your daily movement is disappearing a bit at the moment, which is not good. Yeah, and very important that point that you made as well. Every person is different. I know what works for you wouldn't necessarily work for me, although I'm very much into the yoga thing myself. But you knew that anyway. Fantastic. Yeah. Okay. Nicola, what have you got for us on morning routines and positive mindset?
Yeah, so morning routines, I'm definitely a fan, but it used to be something that I would beat myself up about. So I think for the sort of women that I work with that are very much achievers, they like to get it ticked and done. Well, I've done that, so I've set myself up for the day. And it was something that if I failed in my morning routine, I wouldn't feel like I'd had a great start to the day. So now, probably similar to Emma, I have time for myself first thing every morning, but it might be that actually one day that might be training and a workout. That might be one day an extra hour of sleep. That might be one day journaling and kind of checking in with myself. So again, for my clients, and given that the world is a bit different at the moment, there's got to be that element of how do I feel today and what do I need today, and just checking in with yourself and just making sure that that is what you need today, because otherwise your morning routine can just become another thing to beat yourself up with that none of us really need at the moment. And I'm a lot, I'm definitely a lot, but I just think, the 5 a.m. starts and everything, it's like, well, that's great if that's what you choose. But if it doesn't feel great for you, that's always going to feel crap for you. It's just going to make you feel worse because you're going to wake up, feel tired. And why isn't this working for me? Some of my clients are larks, some are owls, some much prefer just, they'll crack on in the evening. It's really, it's got to be that element of flexibility, because otherwise it becomes another thing to beat yourself up with. And I'm a big fan of a morning routine, but not to the detriment of, making it something that you use to say, well, actually, I've failed before I even started my day. So. Yeah,
that's very interesting. I don't think the morning routine should ever be something that you, where if you don't do it or don't do it perfectly or skip something or swap something out, that you should ever be beating yourself up, because realistically it's there to get you in the right mindset for your working day or your day doing whatever it is that you've got to do. So I quite like what you were saying there about having various things that you might do as part of a morning routine, like a workout or a meditation or some extra sleep or journaling, having a bit of a toolbox of things and deciding which one of those you're going to do depending on how you feel and what you need. And I so agree with your don't get up at 5 a.m. unless that's a terrible idea. I get up at 5 a.m. for 2 reasons and 2 reasons only. I'm getting paid a lot of money or I'm going on holiday. And if it's not one of those 2 things, I'm not doing it. And I have to be paid directly in relation to getting up. Otherwise, no way.
But just to say as well, so I teach and coach something called Noggin Knowledge, which is neuroscience of change. So it's all about how the brain's designed to work. So the important part is that the brain loves prediction response. So it loves routine, it loves structure. But that can be, like I said, that can be starting with the morning for you, rather than, oh my God, I haven't done my run, I haven't done my workout, I haven't done my meditation, I haven't done my yoga. And then it's, like I said, that sets you in the wrong frame of mind for the day. So, from a prediction response point of view, it's more about that's how your brain's designed to work, and it knows that you're going to get that hour to yourself in the morning to get yourself for the day.
Yeah, exactly. Duncan's come up with something there as well. Duncan's a hypnotherapist, and he said it's all about celebrating the benefits of doing it well. Anything you don't do isn't bad; it's neutral, and I guess it's kind of how you frame it, and that's a very good point. I think is that something you two would agree with?
I think.
Whatever.
Yeah, I think it's important to do things that, like I said earlier, which work for you. Not at the moment. There's a lot of people sharing how all they're doing. So I can't think doing all these wonderful things because they're getting the social pressure to do it. But I think you've got to do what works for you, what makes you feel good. I'm a big fan of self-care. So I agree with Nicola. If it doesn't, don't beat yourself up because you haven't done it. If you haven't done it, that's okay. Do it tomorrow, or just think, what can you do? That's another thing. Because not every morning you feel like doing stuff, but actually doing stuff can make you feel good and then set you up for the day. So I think, well, what can I do? Maybe I can't be bothered for yoga, but I can do 5 minutes of stretches or something. So it's about working with you. You don't want to work against yourself. It's about self-care. So yeah, I agree.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, and I think it all comes back to, for me, it comes back to just because you could doesn't mean you should. It's a very different thing. It doesn't, that word should, and that kind of implies a bit of social pressure. And I don't mean this morning routine, but actually through all of kind of lockdown, there's been, Gwyneth Paltrow's very early mem, you should be writing your book, or you should be learning a new skill or a musical instrument. Or it's like most people are just getting through the day by day, hour by hour, minute by minute. And that's okay. Like the world is a very different place right now. And it's that kind of acceptance of doing the best you can. If you're suddenly working from home, your children are suddenly home, and it's so different right now. It's that, what do you need? And what's the best thing for you? So I like Duncan's view, it's not necessarily good, it's not necessarily bad. We don't need to label it like that. But actually, I'm a huge fan of reconnecting to yourself. A big part of what I teach is heart work. The head part is knowledge. The heart part is leading with what's right for you. And we're so busy day to day that actually we lose that connection to ourselves. So it's almost like, for me, that first hour in the morning is that, how am I today? What do I need today? What is the best thing I can do for me today? And that works. That's something I just try and instill in all my clients as much as possible.
Fantastic. Right then, let's move on. Point 2. What drives our ambition and keeps us motivated? Go on then, Emma. I'll let you go with that first. What drives our ambition and what keeps us motivated when it's all not quite necessarily going as well as we want?
Yeah, I was talking about that this morning in my monthly group, and there's 2 main things which motivate us, and one of them is fear, and the other one's like passion and love. So if we're not scared that something's going to go wrong or something's going to not work out, or we're not really passionate about it, they're the 2 main things that are motivating forces. So I was talking about, if you really are passionate and you love something but you're not feeling that motivated that day to do it, actually what we need to do is think about the benefits or what will happen when I do achieve it, because we all get a bit fed up, particularly at the moment. It's all like quite monotonous. It's like Groundhog Day. So sometimes it's what will happen if I don't do it, or what's the benefits if I do it. They're the sort of main motivators, I would say.
Yeah,
and
good.
Focusing on those.
Yeah, I think that's really important. That there's a lot of in the workplace, when you work in a traditional kind of company, the sort of motivation by fear is what everybody sort of works to, isn't it? That if I don't do this, the boss is going to shout at me, or something's going to go horribly wrong. And it's very different when you become self-employed or take responsibility for your own mental health and well-being. That you have to find a way to motivate yourself. And sometimes with a big project, it can just get unwieldy and be a bit difficult and challenging, and reminding yourself of exactly why you're doing it and what the purpose is and what you're trying to achieve, and why these awkward, difficult steps are necessary, I think is very important. So I think that's a very good point, Emma.
And then when it does feel that big, it's about breaking it down into what's manageable. And I think when you're passionate and you love it, even though some days are hard, you know that you're doing it because you love it. And it doesn't really feel like work when you love what you do, but it can also feel boring at times and you don't feel motivated to do like the admin or whatever it might be. So it's about breaking it down into chunks. And when I was doing my degree, my first tutor told me, you can eat an elephant at one mouthful at a time. Not that I'd want to eat an elephant, but it's about breaking it down into manageable chunks. And I think we can do that, even if it's breaking the day into chunks, whatever works for you, and that'll be different for everyone. Then that's what I do to get through those things, because we all have it. We all feel unmotivated at times.
Fantastic. Nicola, what about you?
Yeah, so a big part of what I do is I help my clients step off the hamster wheel, and I help them rediscover that passion. So a lot of them have had like really amazing careers or set up really incredible businesses, but they've got so stuck in that day-to-day, I just need to keep going, kind of in that daily grind, that there's a fear of like, how do I stop and what happens if I stop? And life just becomes a bit monotonous. It becomes a bit grey, and it becomes a little bit like, I know that I need to do something differently, but I don't know what that is. So it's a brilliant thing to be able to help them come back to their purpose and their passion, because that is the thing that it lights a fire under their ass. It helps them see the world differently. And I call it finding your magic. So your magic is the thing that you do in only the way that you do it that has a big impact on the world and other people. So helping them find that creates that inspiration rather than externally applied motivation. So I like my clients, I love helping them find that, what is your magic, and out of that, what is their inspiration? Because inspiration is, like Emma said, for the days you don't want to show up and it's easier to hide under a duvet. Your inspiration is the thing that will keep you going. Motivation is something that will run out, and it's finite. It's applied externally. It's from other people. So once you find that purpose and that passion, and you can articulate your magic, it fires you up, and that is the thing that will keep you going through those days you don't feel like you really want to. And I know for me, it's the thing that when I have what I call my wobbles, it's like I come back to that, and I think, no, I'm here for this reason. I know that I'm doing what I was meant to do and put on this planet to do. That is the thing that will keep me going. And I've had clients say to me before, but you're so motivated and you show up so much. Like, there's no motivation in it. And they look at me quite strangely. It's like, it's inspiration. You know, it's from within. It's knowing that actually someone might benefit from a post that I put up today, or a video that I do, or, you know, showing up on here. It's that to me is worth it. And that is the thing that will keep me going, knowing bit by bit, like a dripping tap, it's getting out into the world more. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think what I'm about to say probably applies to both of you, in that you get a kick out of the results that your clients get. And that's kind of when your clients come back to you and say, this is the difference working with you has made. That is the thing that makes you go, oh, this is so worth it. It was worth the difficulty, worth the tears, worth the stress, because I've actually really helped somebody change their life.
Yeah, definitely. I think we're in that amazing position, and I don't mean to speak for Emma, but I think she'd feel similar, that we're sliding door moments for our clients. If they've had what I call their fuck it moment and they know that they can't carry on, it then becomes a sliding doors moment of, you know, I'm not the biggest fan of the film, because I'm just not. Actually, you know, their life could go one way or it could completely transform because of how you help them to see the world differently and how they feel about themselves. And that's a huge privilege to me. Yeah. Absolutely.
You got anything else to add on that, Emma?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think when people come to work with me, and it takes a lot of courage sometimes and bravery to make that step to reach out to someone and say, do you know what, you know, I don't really want to stay where I am right now. I know I can be more. I know I can achieve more, or be happier, or get over something that's holding me back. And then they come back to you, they're like, wow, I've done it. I end up in tears a lot of the time because I'm just so happy for them. And it just feels, you know, such an honour. I'm grateful for the opportunity to work with people and just hear or see the difference in them. And, you know, that motivates me. But also, I do a lot of work where I try and speak to things that aren't always spoken about, or things that are a bit taboo in society. So, you know, from my own experience, I talk about childhood trauma, or maybe abusive relationships, or whatever it might have been, or people saying no or not having that support, and giving a voice to it to help other people to be able to speak to it. And, you know, I think it's really important to normalize some of these things and give permission to people to open up and reach out, and, you know, and help them to know they're not alone. That's something that drives me as well. So I share a lot of things like that too.
Fantastic. Yeah, that's very important. And there are a lot of things actually that hold people back that we're not really supposed to talk about, or at least that's what we're told. Whereas actually talking about them and dealing with them and solving those problems is hugely important, and does make a massive difference. Fantastic. Okay, let's move on then. I'm going to come to Nicola first on this one. Daily habits for success, Nicola. So what kind of things should people be doing every day? Not necessarily in the morning, but throughout the day, but the daily habits that would help them be successful. What kind of stuff have you got?
Oh God, where do I start? Just trying to think of the most powerful ones. So the way that I work with my clients is that I have an entire end-to-end process that helps them to really know who they are and know what they want. But out of that as well, they create their own toolkit. So this toolkit are the things that they can do to always come back to clarity on who they are and what they want. So that could be if they're having a really stressful day. It could be that they stop and they pause and breathe rather than just trying to work their way through it. If people are feeling overwhelmed, I've done a lot of guest experts recently about feeling overwhelmed for everything that's going on. So one of my top tips for that is if you start the day and you're just feeling like that already, get a blank sheet of paper and just brain dump. It's what I call mental vomit onto a piece of paper, just everything that's on your mind. So before you kind of go into your day, it's almost like a dustpan and brush to your brain. So you're kind of clearing the way a little bit so that you can then think a bit more clearly and you can see what's going on rather than the big grey swirly mass of, oh my God, I'm really busy, I don't know where to start. My clients tend to plan their weeks on a Sunday. So they'll look at their diary, they see where they need to be and what they need to be doing. And also another great little tip is also around pace. So the brain loves to know that pace is at a change that's right for it. So what you can do each week is look at your week and 0 to 10, score your pace for the week. So if it's a 7, but actually that's feeling a little bit fast, what couple of things can you take out to make it and bring it down to a 6? So those two, the brain dump or the mental vomit, as I call it, and then into that pace is power. Like if something is too fast, you're going to live in a world of overwhelm. And if it feels too slow, it's going to feel like there's a lot of frustration. So you can dictate that, and you can do that day to day, not only like week to week, but day to day. So it's more about setting up a day so it happens for you rather than to you. So look at your calendar, look at what's going on, think about your bigger objectives and goals that you have at the moment, how you want to show up in the world, and does your day match with that? I think it was Robert Sharma talks about your days being your life in miniature. So, if you have a diary that you look at and you feel overwhelmed and like, I don't want to do any of that, it's not going to feel, your life isn't going to feel good. So it's almost like you take responsibility for making your days feel good.
Yeah, that makes some sense. I like the idea of the pace thing and looking at look at the diary and go, how busy does that feel, and give it a number and kind of go, is that okay or is that not okay? And then if it's not okay, then change it. Because sometimes 10 is fine for a short period of time, but other times 3's a bit quick, depending on how you feel at the time. So I like that tip. That's
not really talked about in the mindset world, and it's just it's a neuroscience process that we need to have our life at a pace that feels right for us in that moment. You're exactly right about ebbs and flows of what that is and how quickly it is at any time.
Fantastic. Emma, what have you got for us on daily habits for success?
So for me, it's about self-care is a big thing, and I talk a lot about life-work balance, as you know, and I say it that way around because sometimes we forget about life and just do work, and that's not okay. So I make sure I have a bit of a routine set, and I do something productive every day. I start, I take the morning out. I'm a night owl, so it's about knowing yourself. So I get lots more done at night. Like in the afternoon, I know we spoke yesterday and I accidentally did almost a full day's work because I just got carried away because I was loving what I was doing, and I work better in the evening. So it's about knowing yourself and fitting your day around what works for you rather than what is conventionally a typical day's work. I think that's important. Knowing that when you get a bit stuck or a bit blocked, actually it's okay to walk away from it for a while. I think sitting there and trying to force yourself to do something when you're really not in that space is not really helpful. So I might go out for a walk or just have a bit of a break and listen to some music or do something. And I encourage my clients to do that as well. And then they say, oh, but I'm so busy, I need to get all this done. And then after working with me for a while, I come to a session, I go, do you know what? I took some time out. I did something that I enjoy. I went for a walk or a bike ride, or I spent time with friends. And actually, I felt a lot better and got loads more done. And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, I know. You tell me this all the time. But it's about looking after you. So self-care and making time for self-care actually makes us way more productive. Sitting there hour after hour, forcing yourself to do work when you're not feeling it is not productive at all. And actually giving yourself time out actually makes you more productive. So it makes loads more sense. So when you're doing it from a happy place and you're feeling in a good space, you're much more productive. It's better work and you're happy and your relationship's better and everything comes together. So I think it's about factoring in things that work for you, making sure you look after you. Self-care is really important. And then making sure you get like some important tasks done each day. That's how I do it.
Yeah, I think that's really important. And it's bizarre how taking a break helps you get more stuff done. And just sitting in front of the computer screen for hours at a time doesn't actually work. If you go, as you say, go for a walk. Even sometimes I find that sometime between 12 and 1 o'clock, my sort of activity level and productivity level just disappears through the floor. And all I do to sort it out is stand up, make lunch, eat lunch, and sit back down. And that break where I just stop thinking about work and what I'm supposed to be doing, that's it. It just resets. And that small period of time saves me hours of sitting there going, if I just grabbed a sandwich and sat at my desk, I wouldn't get that back. And it's a very subtle difference that I think is really important.
Moving your body is really important. Oh, so yeah, so like if you're feeling stuck mentally, if you move your body, you will feel different in your head as well. So if you're feeling stuck, do something, do something, and get up and move around, make a cup of tea, or even give yourself time, have an afternoon nap or whatever, do what makes you feel good. But moving your body will change how you feel as well mentally.
Yeah, big fan of Nana Nap, definitely.
Oh, that's 3 of us. It's all about the Nana Nap. Viewers, you have permission.
Try and work through things, and just my first job, I was doing looking back at some parts of my life yesterday. It was really interesting, and I've worked since I was 12. So I had a paper round at 12, and I'm that generation that if you want something, you go and earn the money. And my parents are very much, cut your cloth accordingly, and money doesn't grow on trees. So I'm just used to working, and that's my default. That's like a safety zone. So it's actually, now I know if I'm stuck with something and my energy is quite low, to keep going is really detrimental. And I'm much kinder to myself now, but it's taken, and my clients see that as well, but it's taken a long time to kind of shift out of that and just, put some music on that you love. Just it's your ability to change your energy. So for me, walks my dogs, workout or training session, make some food with my partner. Just, it's my responsibility to own my energy and change it.
Yeah, fantastic.
Actually, another point on that quickly is making connections. So sometimes, particularly at the moment, we're often on our own a lot or with the same people. So it's about reaching out and making connections with other people. You can feel really energized by just having a chat with someone else and just getting out of that space for a moment. So that's really important as well.
Fantastic. Right then, Nicola, have you got time to give us 3 top tips for productivity before you've got to go?
Yes, I do.
Go for
it. Right. So let's think. So I always think, so especially at the moment, so just to help with productivity for me is also related to clarity. So we don't have clarity on a big global scale at the moment with everything that's going on in the world. We won't go into that because that'll go off on a whole other tangent, but you can always create your own clarity. So how do you do that? You think about, again, your week or your day ahead, and you think about how you want to show up in the world, and you can think, right, so if it was, my clients early on were saying they want more balance, or they were saying, actually, I feel like I want to be more energized. You create a recipe for that word, and then you think about, how do I bring that into my day? So then you're more productive because you're kind of matching how you want to show up in the world. So that's number 1. Number 2, I'm a big fan of using your diary. So again, we tend to jam pack them. We tend to overcommit ourselves, say yes when we mean no, all those sort of things. So it's about having a diary that excites you and that you want to get into, but also if it looks too busy, take something out of it and put it into next week or next month or next year. Like, you own it, so make it work for you. There's no need to overfill it and ram it with everything all at once. We're very impatient. We want to get stuff done, but it doesn't always serve as well. And then the third one is just having boundaries. Have some really clear boundaries. So when do you start work? When do you stop work? Especially, people working from home at the moment. It might be that you're working on the kitchen table or in the dining room and you just don't have a separate space, but it's still really important to set those boundaries. This is when I start work. This is when I finish work. And this is when I go into, family time, and I'm there and I'm present, and my MacBook on my laptop is off, my phone is off, and I'm just being with my family, because that's what my life is about.
That's really good. Yeah, fantastic. Boundaries really important. That's something that I've suffered with massively, is not having good boundaries, and not particularly around work, actually, just generally. That's an issue that I know I have. And having that kind of, I finish work at 5:30, and from 5:31, I'm doing something else. The laptop is off, the phone is away, and I'm with the family, with my mates, going for a walk, whatever it is. That's really important, because otherwise you just let work drag on and on and on, and suddenly it's 6:30, it's 7:00, it's 7:45, and it's not a nice situation to be in at all, is it?
Yeah, and also you start to resent it then, don't you? Because it's taken away from, how you want it to support your life, becomes your life rather than the support and giving you the life that you want. So yeah, boundaries huge. I would just say, think of it like a muscle you kind of build up. So if you set boundaries that are hugely uncomfortable from you day one, probably not going to work that well. But if you start with where you are, just set 1 or 2 and then build it up from there and there. You'll see the power of it, that create momentum, and you'll want to do more. So yeah.
Fantastic. That's great. I'm going to let you go, Nicola, because I know
Yeah.
you've got another call to get onto. Thank you very much for coming on the show today. I really appreciate your contribution. And I'll catch up with you later in the week if that's okay.
Yeah, sure. But thanks for having me. Thank you. Good to meet you.
No problem. You're very welcome.
Yeah.
See you.
Bye. Bye.
Bye. Right then, Emma. Just me and you left.
And there was two.
And there was two. I need to change the branding on that as well. Now we've only got two of us. I can put that one on, can't I? Fantastic. Right then, top tips for productivity. What have you got for us?
So my tips are, again, back to what I said before, it's about really knowing yourself. So for me, I know that I'm not particularly productive in the morning. So I don't really work that much always in the morning. You know, obviously I do things like this. I'm energized when I'm working with my clients. So I would sometimes work with clients in the morning, but I won't sit down and do lots of admin and paperwork that I don't find that exciting. So I'll take time out for me. I'll every day factor in things that I do for self-care. So like I say, yoga, meditation, going for a walk, doing some hobbies, whatever it might be, you know, reading my book, connecting with people. So what's really important is being happy. When you're happy, you're more productive, you're energized, it's easier to do things from when you're happy. So factor in something every day that makes you happy. Know when's best for you. So I get lots more work done at night, and when there's deadlines, I'm much more motivated. And
yeah, I know the deadline thing. I'm like that.
Yeah, I talked about this morning. There's this thing, Parkinson's law. So like, if I have a month to do something, I'll take a month. And your work expands to fill your time. So if you break things down into chunks, which you have to do each day, then or you want to achieve each day, sometimes when it's around deadlines, it's easy to move them. But actually having that helps you to get certain things done. So I want to do this and this today. Anything else is a bonus. And that works for me. So yeah, taking time out, doing things that make me happy, and having manageable tasks and things that I want to get done that day. And I agree with Nicola, saying no is really powerful. We get into this thing about where we want to say yes all of the time and please people, or we don't want to look bad, but making yourself a priority and looking after you, you're modeling it for other people. And it's actually okay to say no, because it gives you more space to say yes to things that are going to work for you and make you happier, or make you more productive. So it's about doing things that you love, having time out for you, and breaking it down into chunks which are achievable. Set yourself up for success.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with you. The saying no thing is huge. I know there was a period in my life where I said yes to everything. And it just, and there's a point where it just stops working. Although that said, I don't know if you've ever read it. There's a brilliant book called The Yes Man. I think the author is Danny Wallace, I can't remember. But basically what he did was made a conscious decision that every time he got an opportunity, he was going to say yes to it. So if somebody said, do you fancy going away at the weekend? He'd go, yeah. Or do you fancy coming to the pub tonight? Yeah. Do you fancy going to Spain next month? Yeah. And he had a wonderful kind of experience just by saying yes to everything. And it's a really interesting read, but I don't think it's necessarily a healthy thing to do in terms of actually achieving what you want and getting your life where you want it to be. It's quite good if you just want to surrender control for a little while. I
don't know. I have a perspective on that. So for me, and I work with my clients a lot on this as well. So if you say yes to everything and it's not necessarily something that resonates with you, what are you saying no to? So when we say yes to one thing, we're saying no to something else.
No, yeah, okay. There's opportunity cost, isn't there? If you say yes to one thing, there's an opportunity, something you don't know you've said no to, in fact.
Or maybe you do. So if you say, someone says, will you do this to me? And you say yes, and in your gut feeling is, oh my God, well, if I just said yes to that, you're actually saying no to yourself and what you need. So I think it's about being aware of what you're saying yes or no to. And yes, you can say yes to everything, or you can say no to everything. But there's a trade-off. So what are you saying yes to and what are you saying no to by saying yes? Or what are you saying yes to by saying no? So if you're saying yes to you and self-care and saying no to someone else, that's okay.
Yeah, that's very interesting. From a slightly different perspective, something that I tried years ago and worked really well. I still do it now. My boss, when I worked for Aldi, said to me, "What have you got left to do today, Dave? And when's it got to be done by?" And I told him, and he said, "That's interesting." He said, "I tell you what," he said, "just flip your perspective on that." He said, "What I want you to do is to go out onto the shop floor, and I want you to work as hard as you can for the next hour and a half and achieve as much as you possibly can. And that's all I want." He said, "In 90 minutes, I want you to stop and come and see me and tell me what you've done." And I went, "Okay, yeah, fair enough. Fine, no problem. I've got no problem working hard. I always work hard, and particularly in that job, I work really hard." So I said, "Yeah, no problem. I'll go for that. I'll see you in 90 minutes." And off I went. And when I came back to him, I'd achieved about 50% more than was on my list of things that I had to do in 90 minutes originally. And it's really good, I think, that for people self-employed or running their own business or freelancers to kind of go, right, I'm going to work for this block of time. And whatever the block is, it could be 20 minutes, it could be half an hour, it could be an hour, it could be 3 hours, or it could be just by the end of the day. But I'm going to work as hard as I can and achieve as much as I can in that time. And whatever it is, it's fine, but I'm just going to work solidly for that period. And that perspective over, I've got to do X, Y, and Z by this time, made a huge difference to me and the way I got things done and the amount I was able to achieve.
Yeah, no, I agree with that totally. And I think both of them work at different times and for different people. So, for example, I mentioned my degree earlier. So, I was not necessarily a fan of always reading academic stuff. I loved my degree, but it is a bit challenging at times. To read big chunks, you get these big books. So, if I had stuff to do or a difficult essay to write, or even in my work now, I break things down. So I'm not a massive fan of cleaning either. I don't know many people who are. So.
We have a cleaner here for a reason.
Yeah. So I'd chunk my day up into 20 or 30 minute slots. So I'd have 30 minutes where I could do something I loved. So it could be nothing, watching telly, it could be going for a walk, or it could be doing something I enjoyed. Then 30 minutes of cleaning, 30 minutes of work. And I think for those 30 minutes, I can definitely commit to that. However, if you're doing it, other than the fun bit, and you want to do more, then do more. But I think it's just knowing, okay, I don't particularly want to do this, but I can do it for half an hour and I can do it well, or I can do it for an hour and I can do it well. And I think that really works. So I find that quite useful on some things. So I totally agree.
Yeah. We've had a question come in. So have you got any book recommendations for any of the topics we've discussed today? So anything you point people to read that might help them?
So the work I do, it's not based on books I've read. I mean, I have read lots of books, but the work I do comes from the heart and the training I've had. So I've had lots of training with an organisation who's leads from coaching. So I coach from the heart. It's not necessarily books I've read. So on that topic, I'm not going to make anything up at the moment. No.
Good.
But
I like that.
I talk from experience. And I talk from a place of my training. So I'm not going to make anything up. So not at the moment, no.
Great stuff. That's okay. There is one that I read that I think when I elaborate on why I like it, I think it will make some sense to you. The 4-Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss. And the concept of getting your working week down to 4 hours is probably completely unrealistic for most people. However, the premise of the book is to really examine what is in your calendar for work and what of that is absolutely necessary and what waste you can cut. And that, I think, is a really important exercise, because sometimes we can be a bit guilty of doing tasks because we feel we should, not because they're actually useful, not because they lead to more sales or because they help clients or because they make more money for us, just because we feel like we ought to do it, almost peer pressure or societal pressure. And that book really encourages you to take a really stern look at your working week and go, what is absolutely necessary and what could I get somebody else to do either employ them or outsource, or what could I just not do? Like, is there anything that am I doing stuff that I could just not do and nothing would happen?
Yeah.
Like, one of the things that I did, like, this changed my life. This seriously changed my life.
Good.
Was turning off email notifications on my mobile phone to the email address that I get most emails to, because most of the emails that I got were junk. So if that pings, ding, 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 every 30 minutes, 40 minutes, every hour, all through the day, I get the notification on my phone and it distracts me. I engage with it. And even if I don't open the email, I have to swipe the notification away.
Yeah.
And that actually, and it got to the point where I saw the notifications for emails. I was like, really cross and angry. It stressed me, like visibly stressed me. And I just went, let's turn those notifications off. And now I check that email address once a day. I've never missed anything.
No, I think that's a really good thing. I think sometimes knowing what works for us. So like if I have important stuff to do, put your phone on silent. It's quite a good thing to do. And I don't know about you, but I find it hard to focus when there's not, I need other stuff going on. So like I have the radio on all day as like company. Yeah. However, certain times when I really need to concentrate, actually that's not that useful. So I put on classic FM, so there's not so many words, so that I can actually I have that other thing in the background which helps my mind to focus, which wouldn't work for everyone. But it's not got the words, so I can get lots done. And certain music helps me to do certain things. I don't know about you.
Yeah, definitely, exactly the same. If I need to be like really productive and I've got loads to get done in a short space of time, I put fast-paced rock music on.
Yeah, wow.
So I'll put things like the Foo Fighters and Metallica on. Awesome. I love it anyway, but that it kind of energizes me, and it's there, and I just work at speed, and I get so much more done. For some people, that I know a boss I used to work with recommended dance music, and I kind of couldn't do dance music because I hate it. Like, it just grates on me. But I understand it might work for some people in the same way that the fast, heavy rock music does for me.
Exactly. And I think turning off notifications like on loads of Facebook groups and things like that, it can get really overwhelming, and you see all this stuff and you feel like you should interact, and actually it becomes counterproductive. And I see Duncan's just mentioned 90s music. Obviously 90s music.
Yeah, did Classic FM do 90s music? I mean, possibly great. Not so much, Duncan.
Like Adagio for strings, whatever it is. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yes, I do actually. Yeah, William Orbit, wasn't it? That was William the one. Orbit.
So Duncan, you've distracted me. So I think it's really important to know what works for you, and so certain music will help me do certain things, turning off notifications if I have to do a particular thing within a certain time. I think it's really important, and I think it's just really being honest with yourself and knowing what works for you and how you work best and you're most productive and what motivates you, and you've got to be honest with yourself, and there's no strict formula for everyone. It's got to be right for you. Some people can't focus at all with music and some people can, and I think it's really important to find out what works for you.
Yeah. Have you ever done that thing in the car where you're driving along and you've got the music turned up loud and you get to within a mile of your destination and you're not quite sure where you're going, you've got to look for it. So to help you see better, you turn the music down.
Yes, but there's a reason for that. So I've also studied like neuroscience, and I used to work with people with brain injuries. So I learned a lot about the brain and neurobehavior with that, and in my degree. So our brain is a limited capacity processor, so actually we can't take in too much at one time. And also you do the thing when you bite your tongue, because your brain gets a lot of power to control your tongue because there's so many muscles. So actually turning the music down or putting on classic FM, sometimes I put on classic FM when I'm driving and I need to concentrate. It's because we have to like lower down like the stimulus is coming in. So that's why you bite your tongue and hold it still, because it takes less energy, gives your brain more capacity to work. So that's why. So we turn down music because it gives us more capacity.
Yeah, that makes some sense. It just seems, on the surface, it just seems really counterintuitive that you'd turn the radio down so you can see better. But it
reduces the stimulus in your brain, so it gives you more capacity to think. Yeah.
Fantastic. Right then, I think we're pretty much at the end of the show today. So Emma, do you want to just give anybody that tuned in late a quick reminder of who you are, what you do, and how we can get in touch?
Okay, yes, please. So I'm Emma Roache, Looking for Potential, which you can see below. And I primarily work with people through powerful one-to-one coaching. I'm trained, I'm certified in the International Coach Federation, which I find is really important and to operate with, integrity and ethically. And I help people overcome challenges or things that are holding them back. I help them find a better life-work balance. I work with a lot of people on things like childhood trauma. I work with teenagers. I love that. So lots and lots of stuff there, and I have a monthly subscription group as well called Brainbox Foundation, and you can get in touch with me via my website emmaroache.com, and it's ROACHE as below. And yeah, I'd love to hear from you.
Fantastic. Well, Duncan Price says Emma is awesome. I think you've got your fan club in the house today, haven't you?
We did a podcast as well. It was fantastic. So yeah, it's awesome.
Fabulous. So if you've not seen the podcast that Emma and Duncan did, go and check that out. Fantastic. Thank you very much for being on the show today, Emma. I really appreciate you taking the time to come on. For the viewers, this is the penultimate show of the series. We are back tomorrow with show 50, and that will be myself and Stefan sat in this room, and I'm not sure what we're doing yet. We're going to have a chat about something. So that will be the last show in season 1. Quick reminder, the Academy launches a week today on the 15th. Pre-reg forms will be posted on the Facebook page and in the Facebook group as of this afternoon. If you want any more information, give us a shout. And as always, if you enjoyed the show, if you got something from it, please pay it forward, tag your friend in the comments, or give it a share. We'd really appreciate it. Thank you very much for watching, and we will see you soon.